Benue killings has been on the front burner lately since last week Friday, where we saw the heinous, the wicked, dastardly act carried out by suspected Fulani headsmen right there in Benue Massacre. It has been drawing reactions both here in Nigeria and also globally. Over the weekend, we saw Pope Leo XIV reacting to it and praying for the victims right there in Benue State. Just yesterday, we saw our President Bola Tinubu right there in Benue with a lot of interesting notable personalities as well. We saw the IGP, Kayode Ebetoku there. We saw Christopher Amusa, the CDS right there as well, and all the notable personalities. And this is where we are at this point. So during the course of the visit yesterday, the president went to the hospital to see survivors of the incident, which was really sad. We saw the president also having a discussion with personalities in Benue. The Tortive was there as well. And some of the things actually gotten from that incident or the activity that was carried out yesterday was the fact that President Bola Tinubu has mandated the country service chiefs and Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ebetoku, to go after those behind the dastardly killings in Benue State, which have left scores of people dead and many others severely injured. Tinubu issued the order yesterday during his visit to Benue State following the renewed attacks in the north-central state. President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday also announced his intention to form a leadership committee to help bring lasting peace to Benue State, which has faced a wave of attacks by suspected herdsmen over the years. Now, joining me this morning, I have my guest who joins virtually, Barrister Benjamin Nyam. He is the NBA chairman of BOCO and a legal advisor of PCRC, Zone 4 Police Command, right there in Makodi. Good morning, Barrister Benjamin. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, good morning. And it's my pleasure to be here with you. I feel highly honored. Thank you.
Okay, so even before I go over to what has been transpiring over time in Benue State, can you just give us a background view to what really has been going on from last week Friday up until this morning?
Yes, from last Friday to up to this morning, it has been a moment of lamentations and wailings in Benue State. There is a lot of frustration on the faces of the Benue people. There is a lot of feelings of insecurity, desperation, and helplessness roaming the minds of the Benue people, seeking and still thinking, agitating and meditating how to get out of this horrible situation. There is a feeling of a general insecurity, likelihood of more extermination of the Benue population, and that is how we are feeling. And so between that period of that terrible Friday up to now, I can tell you that a lot of activities are grounded in Benue State. A lot of activities, farm activities indeed are at the hot. No farmer is feeling free, and business people are not feeling free to go on with the normal business activities. Everybody, and even most of the host people we have in Benue State at all, it has affected them. They're not feeling free. There is this general feeling that by the time you meet two or three in a market square in any given settlement, there is tendency for such random and horrible attack and case. So I can tell you that it's been a very sad moment. It's been a very horrible month in Benue State. In fact, add to that, this morning I woke up with another sad news that in my village, that is in my local government, uh, 5 Fulani men were also sighted with AK-47. In fact, two different parts of my local government, that is Ushongu local government in Benue State. So it appears they have also been the horrible mission to the next local government, which is Ushongu local government. So that is the situation. I was supposed to travel to my village, but they warned me strongly that I shouldn't try. So that is the situation. This is where we have found ourselves.
Hard situation. Indeed, it's a sad situation, and our heart goes out to persons, victims who actually lost their lives, their families, and properties during the course of the dastardly act. But I'd love to ask you, yesterday we saw our President Bola Tinubu, clearing out from his busy schedule to move over to Benue State. What do you make of his visit? Do you think it holds any water at this point?
Yes, the importance of the president's visit cannot be undermined. To some very great extent, the Benue people have been given a feeling that they are part of this country, and the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as a leader of this nation, has shown Benue people that he shares their predicament. He is also pained by what the Benue people are passing through. And that apart, he has shown great concern. And the federal government at large, because the security chiefs were there with him, Inspector General of Police, Chief of the Army. And so the federal government is also concerned, and not just concerned, but worried at the situation the Benue people have found themselves. And it is also significant in the sense that it is part of the constitutional responsibilities and indeed an indispensable aspect of the Constitution that the federal government is under obligation to protect lives and properties. Every government, every responsible government is under obligation to protect lives and properties of its citizens. And so the president's visit is also in line with the constitutional provisions that affords every government the responsibility of protecting lives and properties. And then at the same time, it also affords the Benue people an opportunity to speak to the president and to explain, to let the president know the actual situation on ground, what we are passing through. And the president himself has, by such visit, been able to access the first-hand information. He has been able to see the level of that attack, the magnitude of destruction, the extent of the horrors the Benue people are passing through, the level of brutality. So at the level of policy making and decision taking, the president is now in a better position to give most appropriate directives and, if possible, adopt better strategies that we call the menace. Today, Benue people are mourning. Tomorrow, it may be the next state. The next day, it may be another state. This is what we are passing through. So it is an opportunity for the federal government to stand in a better position and to nip this situation. So the president's visit is significant in all ramifications.
president visited yesterday. We saw a lot of clip on the internet about when the president visited. You know, he also ordered security agencies to bring an end to the wave of killings in the central Benue state. And like I said earlier, we hope that the visit yield results, you know, not just saying it, because that is what the citizens want to hear, you know, not just coming out on the internet or visiting Benue state and there is no lasting solution. Most of those people, most of Nigerians, most of the citizens, all we want is the lasting solution. You know, I've heard all what you've said about people not being, people are scared of going out, going to the markets, going to farms, doing their daily activities because they don't know what is going to happen next. You know, like I said earlier, we just hope that our president saying that he has ordered security agencies to bring an end to everything that has been happening. Because for the past few months, since May 2023 to May 2025, it has been gathered that 1,043 people have been killed in Benue State. So we hope that our president's visit yield results to a lasting solution.
Absolutely. Now, let's move over and talk about other things and still stay on yesterday's visit to Benue State from our president and his entourage. He said so many things, amongst which was the order where he gave the IGP, Kayode Ebetoku. The President Bola Tinubu has mandated the country's service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ebetoku, to go after those behind the dastardly killings in Benue. He categorically asked, has anybody been arrested? Why has no arrest been done? And it sparks a lot of reactions, a lot of questions to the attitude, or yes, to the attitude of our security outfit over time in the country and how insecurity has been tackled in Nigeria. The big question I ask myself is, does the president have to tell the IGP to go for arresting before arrest being done? What's your take on it?
Yes, like I have earlier said, the visit has availed the president first-hand information. Now, given the magnitude of the killings in Benue State, the magnitude of destruction, the extent of the brutality and the barbaric activities meted by these bandits, killer headers, and terrorist group, the president needed to question, why has no arrest been made? Now, that question is very significant. You understand that it shows there is a very serious shortcoming in our own security architecture. And and Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the president, would want to know from the Inspector General of Police. He has entrusted him with that responsibility. And it appears clear, not as
Okay, all right. We really need to go on a short break, Barrister Benjamin. When we return, we'll look at other critical issues. Please stay. Good to have you join us. The call for self-defense is our major focus this morning, reacting to what has been prevailing over the past few days right there in Benue State, Nigeria. Interestingly, this is not the first time it's happening. We've seen series of killings happen over a decade in Benue State, and the big question is, why do we have this reoccurring every single time? I still have my guest, Barrister Ben Nayem, right there in Benue Massacre. Thank you so much for staying up until this point. Now let's quickly move over to get the statement that was said by the Benue State governor yesterday. So Governor Aliyah of Benue State has asked the federal government to establish state police and an intervention fund following the fresh wave of killings in the north central part of the state. He also categorically said during the course of an interview with a sister station where he said he is not in support of self-defense. What is your own view regarding everything from the governor so far and how best he has handled this issue? Barrister Benjamin, if you can hear me, please go ahead. So I think we seem to be having a technical glitch from Barrister Benjamin right there in Mercadi. So whilst we're trying to have him on board, yesterday we saw a series of activities. Messi, we saw a parade and charade and all of that. Okay, so Barrister Benjamin is back. Please go ahead, Barrister. If you did hear me earlier, please go ahead.
Okay. Yes, I heard you clear.
Right.
Yes, the point at which we were was about the question being put by the president as to why no arrest has been made, despite the persistent and the horrible and protracted nature of the killings in Benue State. Like I've earlier said, the president's visit that is also part of the significance because it availed him the opportunity to
Okay, Barrister Benjamin, it seems you didn't get the other part of the question. Just kindly hold your thought a bit. I'd love you to quickly react to the statements made by the Governor of Benue State yesterday, Governor Alia, where he has asked the federal government to establish a state police and also create intervention fund for victims of the incident in Benue State. He categorically said that he is not in support of self-defense. What is your take on the attitude of the governor over time since this recent incident? Please go ahead.
The governor said he's not in support of self-defense. Honestly, I think he was influenced by his background. You know, he's a priest. He has been a priest for almost 30 years, over something years, before he finally stepped into the shoe of governance. And so, to the Benue people, it's actually unfortunate to them that the governor says he's not interested in support of self-defense. So this is a situation where the Benue people have been pushed to a stake where they cannot avoid self-defense. The truth is they cannot avoid self-defense. But I understand the predicament of the governor. Particularly his own background. And that notwithstanding, his call on the federal government to establish state police is a welcome call. It's what most of the states face with these terrorists and banditry and killings by traders from one point to the other. Most of the states are calling for establishment of state police. Nigerians have been agitating for creation or establishment of state police over and over. And so the governor only reiterated the call for establishment of state police. We are of the firm view that the state police are in a better position to understand the local terrain and even the footpaths, the forests, and the hideouts where these terrorists would normally stay and mastermind their acts. So the call for state police is a welcome development. But at the same time, this is a situation we cannot fold our hands and then watch only the government to fight for us. Okay, police came in and even intervened at their own level. But from every indication, it is crystal clear that they were overwhelmed. They were even overpowered. It's not as if police didn't make any attempt. No, police tried their own, and their best couldn't help matters. So there's need for additional force. That is number one. Number two, there is need for the citizens to also complement the efforts of the security agencies. And
Okay,
so it's
okay,
as good as
Barrister
the governor
Benjamin.
saying,
All right, Barrister Benjamin, thank you for that. Like we said earlier, the Benue State Governor earlier has rejected the idea of citizens aiming themselves for self-defense amid a fresh wave of killing in the state. You know, these people are scared. They do not know what's going to come up next. Like we said earlier, it has been happening and there's no solution yet. So he insisted, the governor insisted that community policy remained the most effective approach to addressing the ongoing crisis. Speaking, he said this during an interview on AIT News on Tuesday. He said, although he personalized believed that talking of harms might appear to be common sense in the face of rising insecurity, such a move would only deepen the state's vulnerability. That is, I should carry it and think that we would make some very good sense, the government said in reference to growing public halls for self-defense.
Okay, well, we're still staying on the Benue killings. Let's move over to react to what the Totiv said yesterday. The Totiv, Professor James Ayates, has dismissed claims that the killings in Benue State are as a result of clashes between herders and farmers. He in fact even said that it's actually a misinformation, that is not what is going on right now. He said that such information has led to suggestions to the Benue people to remain tolerant and to learn to be accommodating. In his own words, he said that the killings were a calculated, well-planned and full-scale genocidal invasion and land-grabbing campaign in the state by herder, terrorists and bandits that has been on for decades. Do you toll in the same line of thought with the Totiv? Barrister Ben, just go ahead.
yes, I agree wholeheartedly with the Totiv's uh, presentation. This is because if you come to Benue State, you will discover that some parts of Benue State have been taken over by these killer herdsmen, and they are occupying the houses of the natives they have displaced. Take, for instance, if you get to Kwande local government in Benue State, a whole council ward, known as More Council Ward, has been taken over. That council ward contains, it harbors some mineral resources, indeed, one of the best of quality golds you could find in the whole world. It has a very fertile land. The whole council ward has been taken over. Now, can you say this is ordinary farmer header crisis? Farmer header crisis usually occurs when in the course of grazing, the herders allow their cows to stray and then consume the farm produce. And the farmer comes in with anger and takes offense. And then there are some crises at that stage. Now, the herder goes away after the whole scenario. Now, what is happening in Benue State is no longer what it used to be in the past period. What is happening in Benue State now? When these people come, they will kill, man, destroy, and at the same time insist on taking over the land. If you go to Gwe, a very large part of Gwe local government in Benue State, we have Gwe West and Gwe East. Large part of Gwe West and some part of Gwe East local governments in Benue State have been taken over by these headers. No farmer dare go there. You can't attempt farming in those areas. You can't. They are grazing in those areas. They have occupied the houses owned by those people, and they are there permanently now. Now, those communities are in the IDPs as we speak. And there is growing number of IDPs in IDP camps in Benue State on daily basis. And so the truth about it is that it has gone beyond ordinary farmer header crisis. So the accurate description of the situation on ground is what the Toti said. I agreed wholeheartedly. As an eyewitness, I agree with the position of Toti, and that is the plain truth.
Interesting. There are those who would actually say that this is not the first time this situation is happening. We've seen it happen for over a decade in Benue State. And the question now is, why do we still have this situation reoccurring over time in the state? So Benue State was once tagged the food basket of Nigeria. I don't know if that still stands on. And who do you think actually is behind this dastardly act, or who are those behind it? Because listening to several reactions, there are those who actually believe that persons from other parts of the country, specifically Nasarawa, actually did fly down to Benue State to carry out all of this menace and then move back. Do you hold in the same line of thought?
Well, I don't believe that people from Nasarawa comes into Benue State, do these kind of things and go. What I believe is that these bandits, these Fulani headers, sometimes they hide in Nasarawa. It's not as if it is the people from Nasarawa that are doing this thing. No, I can't even think of that. But those people, those bandits, those killer headsmen, they will come and they will hide in Nasarawa and then find their route into Benue, do the killing, do the destruction, and then still flee back to Nasarawa. So they use Nasarawa as a base to mastermind these atrocities. It is not the people from Nasarawa, no. Because we have lived with Nasarawa over and over. We know the people, we know the tribes in Nasarawa, and indeed, some of our tribal people in Benue State are also indigenous in Nasarawa State. So they know, and we know, not the indigenous people of Nasarawa that are doing this thing. No, no. I don't believe that.
Engineer Benjamin, you said, news carrying it that some people from Nasarawa actually the one causing this thing, but you just said that you don't think so, that these people actually hide there to perpetrate their act. The thing is, like Anua said earlier, this thing has been happening. It has kept happening, not even in Benue State. It has been happening in other states. Like I said earlier, yesterday, it's happened recently in some states, in some places in those states. And the question now is, how do, of course, our president came out to say that he has sent some security personnel, to look into the issue and see how we can get a lasting solution. Now, the problem now is that this particular thing or this particular situation keep reoccurring. How do we know these people? Is it left for the security, the security to, go into this, looking deeply into the situation to fish these people out so we can find a lasting solution? If you can hear me, Engineer Benjamin.
Yes, there's a security challenge we have in this country. And it's not only peculiar to Benue State. the security agencies need to sit up in a more advanced, the security agencies need to sit up in a more advanced way of nipping some of these activities from the board. Now, you discover that the quality, the sophisticated nature of the arms and ammunition being carried by these marauders is also worrisome. And one begins to wonder, how come are these people transporting these arms within the country and all over the country and down to Benue State? If you look at the location of Benue State is not one of the states that is sharing a boundary with foreign countries. No. Benue State shares boundaries with states within Nigeria. And now you wonder how these arms are being smuggled in. That is also a very serious and a big question. Now, you also wonder how these people navigate down the inner routes, down to the villages. And then they still go back. After this heinous act, they will still go back, and they will go back safely. And so there is a serious security breach. There's a serious security breach. And that I also mean that there are also bad eggs within the security system. There are some bad eggs within the security setting. And so there is need for the security agencies to look inwards, number one. Number two, to step up their level of intelligence gathering. Number three, to also improve their level of sophistication. Because the arms and ammunition used by these killers are so sophisticated that in most cases, our conventional security agencies would even be afraid to confront them, knowing that these people, they have superior power arms. And so there is a serious lag. And unless not until we have a stronger arrangement for security intelligence gathering, and then a stronger and a sophisticated security setting, that we be able to confront and tackle this menace, or else it will continue to rear its ugly head. That's my view.
Can you hear me? All right, thank you very much. You said something
Yes.
about you don't know how this bandits or how these people get this the weapon that they're using, and you also mentioned, if I heard you correctly, that the security personnel, they need to look inward. You know, they are bad eggs among themselves. So you're trying to say now that we should also look at some of the security personnel that they might be working with these bandits, if I may hear you correctly.
Yes, because ordinarily, these bandits cannot on their own, one, smuggle such arms within the country, and at the same time transport such arms freely within the country. These arms pass on our roads before getting into the bushes. It is either these arms comes in through the air and land into the bushes. Or these arms comes in through our seas and then from seas to the roads and then into the bushes and into the bushes to the villages for massacre. Whichever way you look at the movement of these arms, certainly, you will discover that one, there is a failed security responsibility. Two, there is also collusion.
Oh.
This is because on some occasions, security men are found on the side of those killers.
All
And
right,
so,
Barrister Benjamin, thank you so much. I know you heard what
yeah,
Barrister Benjamin say. What's your own opinion on that? Saying that most of this security personnel that we need to look into the inward, these people that most of them are working with the bandits.
Well, it's a lot of things going on at this point, really, and one cannot state categorically who's involved and who's in charge at this point because even the IGP hasn't responded to that. But just before we move on to other things, I'd love us to still go back to Barrister Benyam right there in Makurdi. So, still staying on what the Tortif said yesterday and the issue of politicizing insecurity. It has been on the front burner lately. And the Tortif also did attest to the fact that politicians in the state are busy politicizing this crisis going on in Benue State, passing blames instead of joining hands together to address the crisis. And he also did say that some politicians would even prefer that this crisis become worsened so that the declaration of a state of emergency in Benue State has been held. And a lot of Nigerians too have been calling in for a state of emergency. And if we are to give a contrast between what happened in Rivers State, Port Harcourt, with the state of emergency being declared, and what is going on right now in Benue State with state of emergency not being declared, how would you actually react to this, and what would you say is the issue? Do you think what is going on now in Benue State calls for a state of emergency from the president?
no, certainly no. It has not called for state of emergency. Proponents of state of emergency in Benue State are political enemies of the government. That is the truth. Who would want to take advantage of any misfortune to undo him? The attackers come from outside. We know them. The villagers know them. The victims are crying. These people are Fulani headsmen. These people are Fulanis. We heard them speaking Fulanis. They come. This is their mode of oppression. Thereafter, they disappear and go. And we all know that this problem has been on and on and on, even before this present governor came in. The killings in Benue State have been on before the governor came in. The governor is barely 2 years in the office. So why call for a state of emergency? Why?
Well, we saw a lot of persons being killed, Barrister, if you can hear me. We saw a lot of persons being killed on Friday, a lot of properties being lost. And if we were to do a contrast between what happened in Rivers State with the whole political shenanigans that went on, I don't think any life was lost in Rivers State. But to compare with Benue State, where over 200 lives were lost, properties being destroyed, and really nothing drastic has been done about it moving forward. And you're saying state of emergency call is really not needed at this point.
Yes, if you look at what happened in Rivers State and compare to the case of Benue State, Rivers State, do you have any case of external killings? No. It was an internal political war. That is what happened in Rivers State. It was purely an internal political war between the House of Assembly and the governor. And in Benue State, the killings have been on, like I said, for quite a number of years. Now, the past governors in Benue State will tell you their own experience about the killing, that yes, this thing started and has been on and on and on. So why do you now ask for state of emergency under Governor Alia? What is the nature of the state of emergency? You want the governor to be suspended for a number of years or a number of months. You want the State House of Assembly to be suspended for a number of years or a number of months. You want the military administrator to come in, take over the political structure and the leadership in Benue State, and then start dismantling all the governor's appointees, all the structures that have been made by the governor.
Okay.
Start
Barrister.
all the projects that have been.
Okay, Barrister, so from your own point of view, you are not in support of state of emergency in Benue State. We have a few more minutes to go, but just before we let you go...
It's absolutely senseless.
Okay, just before we let you go, I would love you to actually let us know if this actually is true or not, because yesterday we saw videos of little children on that terrain welcoming our president, lined up in different parts of Benue State, singing on that terrain and singing the national anthem, Nigeria We Hail Thee, which indeed was a bit sarcastic to an extent. And we also saw that the Benue State government released several press releases declaring yesterday public holiday and also having colorful charade just to welcome in the president. We saw persons clearing grass at the middle of the night just to ensure that the state is all clean for our president. Do you think all of those things was really necessary, considering the fact that a lot of persons died and lost their lives and properties? Was that really necessary?
The public holiday declared by the governor welcomes the president, in my view, is reasonable. With all due respect, it's reasonable. Some Benue people even suggested, and indeed members of the State House of Assembly suggested, that the public holiday should be extended beyond the visit of the governor. I mean, the visit of the president. It should be extended beyond the visit of the president to also mourn for the people that have been killed. I think the public holiday is very reasonable in the circumstances, with all due respect. It is also to allow the civil servants and everybody to move to the state capital and then welcome the president, and to also be part of the activities of the president's visit. So it is reasonable. Now on the
okay, thank you so much, Barrister Benjamin.
Anthem, maybe I should.
Okay, we really need to go now. We really need to leave the conversation. Barrister Ben Yem, the NBA chairman of BOCO and the legal advisor of PCRC, Zone 4 Police Command there in Makurdi. Thank you for your time this morning, and please stay safe.
Thank you.